Hey, Mark.
Yes.
You ready?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it. It's the Good Friends, Better Enemies podcast with Mike and...
Mark?
I feel like that's we got to work on our intro. I just feel we need something really, epic.
Nobody gives a fuck about our names, man.
No. I mean, we'll put our names in there, but I'm saying, when they hear our show, they want to be like, yo, I was listening to, the Good Friends, Better Enemies podcast, and when that shit comes on, I was like, yeah, man.
Like Usher? Is that Usher?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Usher. You should just have the intro be Usher. Like an Usher song.
Just Usher?
Yeah, Usher.
Okay, which one? Because there's a couple of bangers from Usher.
I have this love for Usher, man.
Dude, first of all,
guy.
I love Usher. I love Bieber. I love all that shit.
No, I don't love Bieber.
Fuck you, bro. You're not listening to the right Bieber.
I'm not
all right?
not a Bieber fan.
What do you mean, bro? What do you mean? When you not... Because you're
Usher?
nodding your head yes, but you want to say no? What do you mean?
I want to be able to walk down the street and I want people pointing at me saying, this guy fucking loves Bieber.
Dude, is it too late now to say sorry? Because I'm really missing more than just your body.
I can't stand you.
We're literally doing a wrestling show and we're talking about Justin Bieber. Okay, guys, we are doing superstars that WWE dropped the ball on tonight. And there's a handful of guys that we're definitely going to talk about in this show. We have handpicked a couple guys. These are basically the worst guys that WWE dropped the ball on. These guys aren't, I don't know who to, let's put Chris Benoit. Obviously Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho. Those guys, while WWE still did drop the ball on them, they eventually went on to do something. I would say there's only one that really falls into that category, but he really kind of held on to, nothing for a very long time. We'll get into that. But Mark... Before we get into this episode, I thought of a great talking point to start this show off. Has really nothing to do with what the episode actually is, but I love the question and I want to hear your answer because I started out and I have my guys that I have here. Top 5 pure workers of all time. Not talking about star power, not talking about overall success, pure in-ring worker. And I guarantee you we have at least 3 similar guys on this list.
Wow, you put me on the spot.
So here's what I was going to say. I know I put you on the spot.
No, I got it. Hold on.
You got it. Oh, look at him. On the spot and ready to go. I love it.
HBK.
Is number 1?
I'm not... All right.
No specific order.
No order.
Okay.
So HBK.
Okay.
Kurt Angle.
Okay.
Chris Benoit.
Okay.
Chris Jericho.
Okay.
And then the 5th one is where is the hard one because if we're talking before neck injury, I would say Austin.
You got a point. I know.
Before neck injury, I would say Austin. After the injury, he is limited.
Yes.
But he's still great in the ring. Putting on great matches.
Yeah. So you're going to go Austin? Oh, you're not going Austin?
I don't know. Because I feel like Brett should be in there.
Okay.
Or Mr. Perfect.
Ooh, that's a good one. I actually left Perfect out, and I'm really pissed at myself right now.
You know what? I'll do Perfect as my 5th one.
Okay. So, I have Dynamite Kid.
Okay.
Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle. Mm-hmm. Shawn Michaels.
Oh, you're right. See, we got 3 there.
Yep. AJ Styles is in there for me.
AJ Styles?
Yeah, because honestly...
He is great.
He's a generational talent. Without a doubt, the best worker today. And he's definitely got more in-ring skills than anybody I've seen in a very, very long time, at least in my generation. I have an honorable mention, and this one is really going to make your mind blow. Honorable mention of The Undertaker. Because without a doubt, he's not a fan favorite of mine, but without a doubt, one of the best workers I've ever seen, and easily one of the best big men I've ever seen.
Yeah, you know what I love about Taker, too? He got better as he got older.
Absolutely.
His best matches came later.
Yes.
Which is great, you know?
I would say his best match of all time was at WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, but then he had the one with Triple H at 27, which I thought was great. That was the era one?
Not. You're talking about the Hell in a Cell match, or are you talking about the No Holds Barred match?
The one with Shawn Michaels was the ref.
That was 28. Yeah.
They bow at the top of the ramp. I thought that was a good match.
That was a good match, yes. But I still, without a doubt, 25 is way better.
What about his wars with Brock in like 03, 04, man? That was great shit.
Yes, again, great matches, great brawls, without a doubt. But like I said, I mean, for me, and I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point, that WrestleMania 25 match might be my favorite match of all time.
It's excellent, man.
Yeah.
Excellent match.
All right, so I just wanted to throw that out before we really got into the meat and potatoes of this
I
episode.
thought I handled that pretty good.
Listen, man, I threw it at you. Did I tell you about this before we even started recording?
No, we didn't talk about this.
No, and I'm not gonna lie, I threw it at you. I was ready to go first, just to let you have time to think of your guys. You knew them right then and there, and they were absolutely excellent picks, without a doubt. Guys, let's do it. Let's talk about some of the guys that WWE dropped the ball on. Mark, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. First guy, and I'm going to give you his accolades before I announce him, and you tell me what you think about these. In WCW, I'm only going to go as WCW accolades, not as ECW accolades, but WCW, one-time light heavyweight champion, one-time U.S. champion, and one-time tag team champion with Perry Saturn. When he came over to WWF, you know what he did? 27-time hardcore champion.
I already know what you're talking
We're
about.
talking about Raven, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen. What
Yes.
about me? What about Raven?
Yes.
So, interestingly enough, Raven started in 1988. That actually sounds pretty insane when you think about Raven's body of work. He actually started in 1992 in the main promotions as Scotty Flamingo. He was a surfer from Florida and carried a surfboard to the ring. Now,
So is that pre-Sting?
uh,
Surfer Sting?
I think it was right around the same time. I'm not a huge WCW guy, so my timeline could be fudged up in that aspect, but I think this was around the time where Sting was really doing his surfer thing, which is probably why they shit-kicked the Scotty Flamingo gimmick. He also left in 93 WCW because he had a lot of disagreements with Bill Watts. And then his first foray into WWF, ladies and gentlemen, Johnny fucking Polo. He was a valet for some of the top dogs in WWF, Adam Bomb and the Quebecers. That's who he managed, people. Now, after that, he did some commentary work. He left. And now, guys, this is where we start talking about Raven that we know and love. He joins ECW for himself. And basically, this is where he really developed the Raven character that we know and love today. And he also scared the shit out of Kurt Angle to make Kurt Angle completely never want to even touch ECW because of... Do you remember this, Mark?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so...
He put Sandman on the cross.
Yeah, he literally crucified Sandman on the cross using barbed wire, and that literally sent Kurt Angle packing and never wanting to come back.
Yeah. He took one look at it, he was like, I'm definitely not staying here.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. You saw that. Would you get a little chubby, or would you just be like, nah, man, I'm flaccid?
I'm for the extreme shit, so yeah,
Okay.
I would have liked it.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't mind when Taker put Austin on the cross and all that shit either, so it's like didn't bother me.
It was a little much, but I was still appreciated it, especially going back and watching it now.
It's one of the coolest visuals ever when he's standing in front of Austin and Austin's in the air with
Yes.
the cross. I think that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So now Raven is in ECW. He forms the Raven's Nest in ECW. We were talking about that earlier. And again, he really evolved into this character. And now he goes to WCW where he takes the Nest thing with him, but he turns it into the Flock. Now, the Raven's Flock was amazing because it elevated guys that we probably wouldn't have gotten to see their true potential. Perry Saturn, Chris Kanyon, Billy Kidman, Steven Richards. Like, these are guys who actually went on to have great careers, and you have to give it to Raven for doing that for them. You know?
Yeah. Well, so I think I mentioned Raven in the Royal Rumble episode.
But I know we've definitely talked about Raven. Yes, because
Yeah,
it was 2001. Yes, you did.
So I mentioned Raven in that podcast. I said that he was a main event guy, and what I was referring to was his ECW run, where he dominated for at least 2 years with Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
And then he went on to dominate with Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was top of the food chain, and I was a big ECW guy at the time, so I never saw ECW as this small little company like everybody else did. all those guys that were there were amazing to me. And I was a huge fan. I saw him as a main event guy. Then I saw him in WCW, and I remember him taking up a lot of my TV time on Nitro with the Ravens Flock stuff. So I
Yeah.
know he wasn't like Hogan level or anything like that. He wasn't the main event on Nitro, but I remember him being like pushed. I think he was like United States champion and all that stuff. So
Well, yeah, we talked about that before. He was
Yeah.
light heavyweight champion, U.S. champion, and with Perry Saturn, tag champion.
right. So I remember him being like, to me, he was a main event guy at one time, and they kind of pushed him down the ladder.
Yeah, obviously he, after elevating his stock, essentially, I'll put it that way, after elevating his stock so much in ECW and WCW, he wanted out, but there was a clause in his contract where he couldn't directly sign with WWE right after leaving WCW. So what did he do? He signs a 1-year contract with ECW to basically circumvent that, and then went to WWE after that 1-year contract was over. Now the problem here is when he came to WWE after that, where he had this amazing character already pre-built, and WWE does this all the goddamn time because Vince feels if he didn't create it, it's bullshit. And
Yep.
that's what I hate the most. I don't know about
This was
you.
the whole point of this episode was that I noticed, especially from our era, that every guy that he got, that was already a package deal. They were already established. He takes them, and he just kind of goes, no, none of that matters because I didn't invent it. But they already have a fan base.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fan of guys like him and DDP and all that stuff, and Booker T. And I already followed them for the last 4 or 5 years in another company where they were established main eventers. Now you're taking them and you're telling me, no, these guys don't matter. It doesn't matter about their fan base. They're starting at the bottom. Which to me is leaving money on the table. You could have had so many dream matches in that 2 or 3 era span, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So even if you go back, now we're going back to 1974, Vince McMahon found a gentleman who we all know called Ted DiBiase in Mid-South Wrestling. DiBiase was probably the top dog in Mid-South Wrestling. What did Vince do when he found this guy that, again, was over with? Again, this is territory days. We're not talking like TV spots and all that stuff. This is territory, so it's different. But still, DiBiase had a name for himself. So what does he do? Granted, this one kind of worked a little bit. So that's why I didn't put him in this episode, but he turned him into the $1 Million Man. You have one of the greatest workers in the entire industry of professional wrestling, and you turn him into this guy that uses money to get ahead. Granted, again, it kind of worked. I love Ted DiBiase. I love the $1 Million Man character, but his claim to fame was the $1 Million belt. He bought the WWE title for himself, and he's a tag team champion. Those are his claims to fame once he came over to WWE. You know?
He kind of did the same thing with Jerry Lawler, too.
Jerry Lawler, I mean,
who was a main eventer in Memphis.
right?
He
Yeah,
brings him to WWE. Now he's a announcer, and you know what? He's amazing. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best announcers. But I mean, come on, man. You could have did something with Jerry Lawler. I mean, they did give him a nice fuse with Bret Hart and all that stuff.
but it
and,
wasn't
you know,
what he was doing there.
No, I mean, you had the stupid foot match or whatever.
I
That
know
Stupid,
the kiss my
but-
foot match at King of the Ring.
ridiculous things. I'm like, this guy deserves so much more.
Well, look
you
what
know?
they did to Dusty Rhodes.
Another one.
Yeah. I mean, you say the word Dusty Rhodes, and you're literally speaking wrestling royalty.
Yeah, legend.
And he wore yellow polka dots to the ring, and to this day, and I don't care what Bruce Pritchard says, it was to piss off Dusty, and Dusty took it and fucking ran with it. So I don't care what Bruce says. It wasn't a work to fuck with Dusty. You're bullshitting us. Bullshitting.
Well, that's pretty much all Bruce does. If you listen to his podcast, everything he says just comes off like it's bullshit. You know.
Ugh.
Whatever. That's a different topic, though.
All right. So again, Sting, my God, Raven just kind of hangs off in the balance. He basically stayed stagnant in the hardcore division for 3 years before being let go in January of 2003. I don't know if you knew this story, but I found this very interesting. He was banned from talking for 2 months due to an incident at Wrestlers Court.
What did he do?
I didn't get, there's not a full story on it, but just something about he went before wrestlers court. He was found guilty of whatever the hell he did, and they banned him from talking in entirety for 2 months.
Well, because he tried to cut an awesome promo one day. And
Who the
like, no, you can't have that.
Yeah,
can't have that.
Who the fuck no? Well, wrestlers court is done by the wrestlers, so, and he was not.
Undertaker the judge.
He was the judge for, I don't know, I mean, I'm sure during this time he probably was, but yeah, he was the most notorious judge. I don't even know if they still do that, to be honest with you. I'd be interested to find out.
That was like New Generation era, right?
Yeah.
No, Attitude Era too.
I was going to say Attitude Era, definitely. Because they even talk about them doing wrestling court during the whatchamacallit era, Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, again, they really did nothing with Raven. He's gone on to do really good stuff in TNA and multiple independent circuits, but for 3 years, he was just this hard guy. And again, he won the fucking hardcore title 27 times. It was probably within 3 or 4 matches, having the title change hands 75 times a match. I mean, but...
He'd have been a monster heel and had some awesome feuds, man.
So let's do some fantasy booking here, because we're talking about guys that were misused. Let's use them correctly. Where would you put Raven if you were booking WWE at the time?
Well, it's hard. I would definitely put him in Intercontinental level.
Okay, me too.
I wouldn't put him in the Austin Rock, Triple H era. I mean, in that main event scene. Okay. But I put him right underneath that. He could have been having awesome feuds with Chris Benoit and all those guys. Kurt Angle, and he could have been a great heel.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm just fixing stuff over here. I mean, definitely would have been an absolutely incredible heel, without a doubt. I felt like he would have been in a, because again, he's a good in-ring worker too. He's not like we're talking about some schlub. Like, they wanted him to be a producer and he turned them down. He refuses to work with WWE now.
Well, I don't blame him.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah. All right.
I mean, they literally took the guy and were like, yeah, you don't really mean anything, so we're going to give you this shit title that means nothing 27 times.
Exact. Absolutely nailed it. Yeah. All right, let's talk about one of your favorites, and I know that this is definitely one that you want to talk about. We are going into a 3-time WCW champion, 1-time WCW TV champion, 2-time WCW US champion. He's also a 4-time WCW Tag Team Champion with Bam Bam, Canyon, and Nash. And then when he came over, you're talking a 1-time European Champion, 1-time Tag Champion, again with his buddy Canyon, and a 2017 Hall of Fame inductee, which is probably his biggest claim to fame. We're talking Diamond Dallas Page. Interesting fact about DDP here before we get really into it. He drove the pink Cadillac that carried Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine to the ring at WrestleMania 6.
Nice little WrestleMania Easter egg.
Yeah, and I still love that because I still love watching that pay-per-view and just seeing Diamond Dallas Page drive. And I believe that was his car, if I'm not mistaken, too, which is why they grabbed it and why he said, I'll drive it, because it was, like I said, it's his car. Now, Page went from being one of the top baby faces to being, I don't even know if I would call him mid-card at best.
Oh man, he came in getting buried.
Yeah.
I hated it so much. And you know what's funny? He comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he reveals himself who he is, and the crowd goes fucking crazy.
I was gonna say, and the crowd goes mild.
I have to ask, does Vince have earplugs in when he watches his own show?
I don't know.
At the time, because when these guys come out, it's like, hello, there's a whole huge fan base that love this guy and know who he is and know what he did, right? And I'm one of them, because I watched all 3 companies at the time, and I'm just like, this guy is a main eventer.
Yeah.
He should be in there as a babyface. Why is he in there as this stupid stalker? And he's going after the Undertaker for no reason. I mean, I didn't understand it. I thought it was terrible.
All right, so let's start from the beginning and we'll make our way to his WWE run. He actually started out in 1991 as the Freebirds manager, which, again, you start there, you're starting at some pretty solid ground. You know, you talk about the Freebirds, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and you're managing them, you know?
Yeah,
and
great.
Page continued to get better and better over time, and he wanted to be. That's what I love about DDP, and I'm not a huge DDP fan, but I respect the shit out of him. He constantly wanted to get better. So what did he do? He sought after help from one of the best in-ring minds of all time, Jake Roberts. And together, they invented the Diamond Cutter. Probably one of the sickest finishing moves in wrestling history.
Yeah, right up there with the stunner and RKO and all that. Great.
Well, if you think about it, I was going to say, like, the RKO is essentially just the Diamond Cutter.
Yeah, it's set up a little differently, but it's very similar.
I was going to say Randy hits it differently, and obviously Stone Cold is like a modified Diamond Cutter, but they got their, you would have to say that they got their, whatchamacallit, from that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, there we go. So, obviously Page constantly getting better. His last match in WCW was he lost to Steiner. Wait, is this the right guy? Yes, I'm sorry. I thought I was reading somebody else. Last match was he basically passed out to the Steiner recliner, and he was used as a top babyface for a very long time. And he was basically the headliner of a lot of their marquee pay-per-views, you know, wrestling with Hulk Hogan, Flair, a lot of big name industry guys.
He was actually one of the guys that had one of the greatest matches with Goldberg at Halloween Havoc '98. Now, half the world didn't see it because the pay-per-view got cut off midway. But now you can go back and watch it. I mean, what an excellent match and an awesome build-up, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So, like I said, final match against Scott Steiner in WCW. And then he came over to WWE. And
wait, can I just say one of my favorite moments from DDP in WCW?
Please go right ahead. That's what we're here for.
So I was a huge DDP fan, and one of my favorite moments is when he did the fake NWO. When he faked to join the NWO, and he's in the ring with the Outsiders, and they give him the shirt, and he puts it on, and I'm pretty sure it's Nash and Hall, and they're posing or whatever, and Nash turns around. And he diamond cuts Scott Hall, and then he runs through the crowd. I mean, I thought that was such a great. And the crowd's going crazy. One of the best moments.
So I actually do remember actually watching that. There were WCW events that I did watch, including Nitro and stuff. Question for you: did DDP ever join NWO?
I don't know. He was one of the guys I always did on WCW side.
Okay.
Him and no, I think he was him and Goldberg. I don't think Goldberg joined.
I don't. No, fucking Brett did though.
Horrible. that'd be another episode.
Oh my god. Well, no, we'll definitely do the long. I want to do Brett's career in a long, long form. We'll definitely do that one day.
Horrible decision to have him.
Exactly.
He should have stayed on WCW side. He did not fit NWO at all.
He honestly should have never left WWE, but that's a whole nother topic. We're not doing that, though. We're going to drift off. All right. So DDP comes over, and he comes in as Undertaker's then-wife's stalker.
Horrible.
And he claims he never cared about Sarah. He just wanted to make an impact with the biggest dog in the yard, which, granted, listen, on paper and in theory, it's a great idea. You know, you're really, nailing it with The Undertaker. I don't think that The Undertaker was the right guy to put DDP with, personally.
No. I don't think so either. They should have did he should have came in against Austin or The Rock. He should have went right for the top. And I'm not saying Undertaker's not tops, but you do have two guys ahead of him, in my opinion, at the time.
Well, I wouldn't even say that. Put him in somebody that you think that his ring work is going to... I don't think that they're in ring work. And Undertaker's a guy who, if you don't work well with him in the ring, you're not getting a good match.
Well, it became personal because supposedly Undertaker really didn't like the guy in real life.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's an interesting tidbit.
He came as supposedly, this is what I'm reading, and this is what I've heard for years, that he came into the locker room very cocky.
Okay.
I'm DDP. I'm this. I did this over in WCW. Undertaker was like, oh yeah, well none of that shit matters here. So they had a beef, kind of.
Okay.
It was more Undertaker just not liking the guy.
Fair enough.
And I think that's why when they got together, their matches were squash matches. They weren't actual matches.
I see. Okay. I mean, again, now hearing that definitely makes sense, and that's still very, like I said, very interesting tidbit. Listen, I have an interesting, like I said, this is kind of like we're going to go into a little fantasy booking in this episode. Now, he formed the alliance team at WWF Invasion, right?
Yeah, he did.
This would never happen. I'm not saying that, but think about it this way. You're trying to build competition within your company, right? You obviously had the WCW or Invasion team versus the Team WWF. You have DDP being the sole survivor of Team Invasion. Tell me that doesn't launch DDP as a solid heel now.
Oh, hands down.
And you can now use that and use him in any way you want because you've now built him as the guy that took down WWF.
Hands down, I agree with you.
But they gave it to Austin for no reason.
Well, it's like Austin doesn't need the rub.
No.
He's cemented in stone. He's already set. He doesn't need the rub at all.
Yeah.
They did so many things during that time that I could go on for like hours talking about it. So I don't want to do that. But
right.
So much shit they did at the time. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
All right.
Are you purposely killing these guys because they were in WCW? Like, you keep saying that you signed them because it's like let bygones be bygones, but is it really let bygones be bygones when you sign them just to bury them?
It definitely doesn't sound like it's bygones being bygones. It sounds like it's Vince buying something and going, "Look what I can do with you now." That's
Look what he did to Buff Bagwell, a guy that was really popular. You know, he had
extremely popular.
When he come out, he get a huge ovation, right?
Yeah.
And he has that match on where they were trying to do Nitro on Mondays. Now they were trying to bring that into instead of Raw, which I think is a terrible idea. But whatever, they tried it with him and Booker T. They have one decent match. I didn't think it was that awful. And he puts the whole fall of it not working out on Buff Bagwell.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, it's his fault. It's Vince's fault, not Buff Bagwell. I mean, just horrible.
Yeah. All right. So really quickly, obviously, DDP stuck around for a little bit. He lost the tag titles in SummerSlam of 2001, had a 2-month absence due to an injury, and then came back as this overly optimistic character that they basically used until he went out permanently. Now, we've talked about this overly optimistic DDP, Mark, meaning you and I together. Just really run down how bad this character was.
It was awful. From the get-go, he came out, and I was like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? I'm like, they have so much room to do whatever they want with this guy, and this is the gimmick that they give him?
Mm-hmm. No, it was bad. It was just...
Then he has a feud with Christian. Yeah. It's just like an awful feud. He goes from feuding with The Undertaker, which I thought sucked, and instead of moving on to another top guy, he goes way down the ladder. You know what I mean?
No, and again, I love Christian, amazing in-ring worker, and I felt that Christian was better suited for DDP's in-ring style, without a doubt.
If you talk about ring quality, yes, but when I'm talking about like
I know where you're going.
Trying to get the guy over as a main eventer, that's not where you go with him.
But clearly, they weren't looking at him as a main eventer.
Right.
Sadly, DDP had a severe injury due to Hardcore Holly in 2002 off of a botched suplex, and shortly retired after that botched suplex. Although, like I said, he's definitely in the WWE Hall of Fame. He's done a couple of legend spots for WWE in the past. He worked for TNA, Independent Circus, and he also recently did some AEW stuff. So he's definitely done his work since doing the WWE run, but I feel like that run really just flatlined his character and his career.
Plus his amazing DDP yoga. I mean,
dude, first of all, I was going to say, DDP yoga is insane. I'm not trying to plug DDP yoga. We don't get advertised by them, or sponsored. I'm sorry. We don't get sponsored by them, but DDP yoga,
by the way,
it's insane. And it works, for the record. It definitely works.
Look at what he did for Jake the Snake and Scott Hall.
I was going to say Jake Hall, absolutely, as the DDP house. It's interesting because that's actually a very interesting fact that we were just talking about. In the beginning, we talked about how DDP, went to Jake and asked him for help in the ring. And again, they invented the diamond cutter, and turn around, then DDP was there for Jake when Jake needed him the most.
Yeah, awesome. That was great.
Great full circle story. All right, next guy on our list is WCW champion 1 time, 2-time WCW TV champion, 2-time WCW US champion, 7-time WCW tag champion with his brother Rick Steiner, and a 2-time WWF tag team champion, again with his brother Rick Steiner. We're talking Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
Now, Steiner started back in 1986, finally making his way to WCW in 1989. He did leave WCW in 92 for a very brief stint in WWF, where he won 2 tag titles with Rick. That was probably the best run of WWF that he would ever have, and it was short and sweet.
I realized that most of the guys we talk about, they started in WCW, then they went to WWE, then they went back to WCW, and then they went back to WWE. You know, they would like jump back and forth.
I was gonna say, like, a couple of these guys, they didn't obviously start one place and go. These guys are well-traveled guys, without a doubt. And then there's one guy who is without a doubt a well-traveled guy. I think he's one of the last guys I have on my list here. So I found this interesting. He actually spent a year in ECW, Scott Steiner, before returning to WCW in '96. I don't remember him in ECW.
I don't remember him either.
So I guess this was during a time where either A, they weren't doing much television, or I'll have to go back and look because I don't remember this at all. But yeah. And then now his next run with WCW, this is where he came into his own and invented, as we all know and love, the Big Papa Pump character.
I loved it, man.
It was so over the top, so good though, because this is one of those moments where you watch a heel being born and you love every second of it because he is such a heel.
Oh, he was a heel, but he was so good that you loved him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And his promos are legendary.
Dude, I mean, I cannot wait to do a Big Papa Pump episode because the promos that this man has, and I have sound drops after sound drops of these promos, they are amazing. They're incredible. He's definitely got one of the greatest promos of all time with his math promo in TNA.
Oh, that's might be number 1. I don't know.
That's easily number 1. That's probably the greatest promo of all time.
I mean, I love the shoot promos to the Click and Ric Flair back in the day. I don't know if you remember those, but he used to really go at those guys, and I love the Clicking and Flair and all that. But man, when he would tear them down, and I'm like, fuck, like nobody told this guy to say this shit, but he don't care.
Yep,
he says whatever he wants.
Absolutely. So again, completely established himself as a main eventer, earning a heavyweight title run during this, and he was the last person to hold the World Heavyweight title in WCW before losing it to Booker T at the last ever WCW event. That's how much faith that they had in this guy, where he basically held the company on his back that last year or two.
Yeah, he did. I think he had a huge feud with Goldberg his last year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And again, the last, I think, WCW pay-per-view, Sin, I think, was when he beat DDP.
Right. Yeah, so he had some huge matches.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying. He's one of the guys I can't blame WWE for.
You can't.
Him failing. No.
Okay. Well,
I'll let you say like what you gotta say.
Sure.
And I want to go in why I can't blame them for him.
I definitely I would love to hear your reasoning behind it. We're getting there. So basically, he was one of the guys that let his contract expire with AOL. If you're not familiar with what happened there, the guys were given a chance to, if they had a contract with AOL, sit at home, let their contract work itself out, and still get paid, or renegotiate your contract with WWE, whatever it be. Obviously, guys like Nash, Hall, Sting, Papa Pump, they just sat home and collected money because
they were getting way more sitting home than they would have.
I was going to say the same exact thing. There's no way WWE would have paid them what WCW was paying them, without a doubt, because they were getting.
Jim Ross even admitted it.
No, well, no offense. Like I love these guys, but there's no way that they were worth what their contract was valued at. I'm sorry.
You don't think Hall, Nash, and Hogan were worth what their contract was?
Hogan is on a separate entity because he's Hulk Hogan. If you go back and look at what Hall and Nash got when they initially signed with WCW, no, I don't think so, because they made it to that level, thank God. but you were rolling the dice and gambling big time with those two.
I think about it now. Like when I go back, I was thinking about them the other day, and I was like, they really didn't do much. Like besides forming the NWO, once they got into the NWO and that train kept rolling, they didn't really do much as in-ring competitors.
No. I mean, they were a solid tag team, but they basically just paved way for the NWO, and then you have the Wolfpack, and then obviously they situated themselves to be bigger players than they were. Let me put it that way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So obviously Scott Steiner makes his way after his contract expires, and he came into WWE with momentum that just was unmatched. I still remember watching Survivor Series 2002 at Madison Square Garden, and you had Matt Hardy and Chris Nowitzki in the ring talking and bashing New York City, and all of a sudden you heard the siren blaring, and he comes out and everyone went nuts. It was such a big pop. It was in such an iconic arena, and I'm like, okay, this guy's here. We're going to do some great shit with this guy. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. And then he loses to Triple H, and he never gets his foot off the ground, and they do the pose downs. Like, there was just such shitty feuds that he was in, and there was then the biggest mistake was he missed every WrestleMania. That he was on one WrestleMania his entire career with WWF, and it was WrestleMania 9 with his brother facing the fucking Head Shrinkers. That's the only WrestleMania this son of a bitch made it to.
And that's a shame, too, because he was great at the time.
Dude, WrestleMania 19 was perfect for him. Throw him into anything in that pay-per-view, but no. They left him off the card completely.
Yeah.
Instead, we got Undertaker in a handicap tag match. So, I was just saying, like, WrestleMania 19, instead of having Scott Steiner there, we had Undertaker, which, again, you're not keeping Undertaker off of WrestleMania, but I would have at least appreciated Undertaker versus Scott Steiner, build me up a quick little feud there, but no, we got a 2-on-1 handicap tag match instead.
Awful match, by the way.
It was terrible, and he couldn't even get A-Train up in the tombstone.
Yeah, really bad match. I just watched it recently. I was like, this is where they have Taker? Awful.
I didn't mind him opening up the pay-per-view because I loved it with the Limp Bizkit playing music and everything. That was fine. It's just a shitty match. And the guy's still not in. Again, you can induct these guys into the Hall of Fame as a tag team. The Steiner Brothers probably one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Yeah, hands down.
But neither of them are in the. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this or you're familiar, but Rick Steiner's son is now killing it in NXT. But where's the mention of how great his father and uncle were?
I think because they had something happen with Vince, didn't it? No.
You could be right. I could be wrong. I don't know, but
I think it's because Scott Steiner talked so much junk about Vince and all them when he was in.
Scott Steiner is not a fan of WWE and does not speak highly of them at all.
And he's vocal about it too. He says it a lot.
I was gonna say this son of a bitch will be vocal about everything.
Yeah, and maybe they just group Rick Steiner with him, and he just has to suffer because of that. I don't know.
I don't know, man. But again, like I said, they're giving Rick Steiner's son a great shot right now. He's doing great things in NXT, and I would love to see him come up and actually do great things in WWE. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about misused talent. That's Scott Steiner. The next guy, unless you have anything else to add about Scott Steiner?
Yeah, I was going to say why I can't blame WWE for his...
That's right, you did. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so I can't blame WWE for him falling down the ladder because when he was in there, they put him right at the top in the championship run against Triple H, and I think his performances were so bad in those matches that they just said, yeah, he doesn't have it anymore.
Okay.
So he showed up, and he had all the momentum going. They were behind him. They were like, let's push this guy. He has an awesome fan base. That was one of the guys they actually got behind and said, let's do it right. And they put him up against Triple H. He's in the championship matches. I think they headlined at 2, right? 2 or 3?
I was going to say it's at least 2, I think 3 major pay-per-views, because I believe it was Scott Steiner versus Triple H for the title at the Royal Rumble before WrestleMania 19.
Right, so they did 3. So they're like trying to get this guy to be in the main event picture, but his performances were so bad.
They were really rough.
They were really bad. You could tell how rusty he was. He just was not the same Scott Steiner from WCW.
Yeah.
and he was very stiff. And I think that when they saw that, they were like, maybe we shouldn't be pushing this guy. Maybe he needs to start at the bottom, work his way back up. And I think that's what happened.
Well, I mean, that's what they did. They put him with Test and Stacy
Yeah.
Keibler. Granted, listen, I'm not complaining about being put in a storyline with Stacy Keibler, but that's what he was demoted to, and that's basically how they showed how they thought about him. Put it that way.
Yeah, but that's because of how he performed, not because
Right.
they were abusing him or anything like that.
No, and again, when you say that, again, yes, and watching those matches is very abysmal, but yes, so does he belong on this list? Yeah, I still say he belongs on this list just because of the talent that he had, and I feel like maybe if they would have worked with him a little bit more, but at the same time, you do have a point where he was he basically his own worst enemy, let's put it that way.
I realized with Vince that he kind of gives these guys like one shot, and he got 3 shots, so he was very lucky. He gave all those WCW talents, like, if you don't shine in this match,
Yeah.
I'm putting you down the ladder, and you're starting from the bottom. But he gave Scott Steiner 3, so...
Okay. Well,
yeah.
this next guy really didn't get much of a chance, and I really don't even know what happened, and it's probably one of my most glaring points of this entire topic. We are talking about two-time ECW champion, two-time FTW heavyweight champion, two-time ECW TV champion, three-time ECW tag team champion with Kevin O'Sullivan and Sabu. And then he goes on to become a three-time WWF Hardcore champion and one-time WWF Tag Team champion with Spike Dudley. We're talking about Taz.
Okay, awesome.
Guys, Mark obviously knows how I'm not a huge fan of ECW. I never really was. But when you talk about one of the best in-ring workers I've ever seen in my life, Taz in ECW was it. This man had matches that made me love ECW.
Yeah, Wrecking Machine.
Yeah. They called him the suplex machine because the man could do every suplex you could think of. He invented suplexes.
Wasn't it like the T-bone suplex or something like that? He had some crazy one he used to do.
He was the first person I've ever seen do the capture suplex.
Yeah.
And that suplex is absolutely insane. If you've never seen it, look it up real quick. It's worth even like the 5-second video of it on YouTube, whatever it is. It's an amazing suplex. This man was something else. He started in 87 in the indie circuits and then went right over to then what was called Eastern Championship Wrestling in 1993 and stayed through the evolution into Extreme Championship Wrestling. And ECW, when it was Extreme Championship Wrestling, it really developed Taz as his character that we know what he became. Taz basically put on amazing classics with guys like Sabu, RVD, Lance Storm, Al Snow, Chris Candido. I can go on and on and on. This man could do a match with anybody and make them amazing.
Yeah, excellent talent, a main event guy once again, a guy that I think could have did awesome stuff if they would have just gave him a chance in WWE.
Yeah.
Actually, do you remember PW Insider, the old wrestling?
Yeah, of course.
Magazine. So I used to subscribe to all these magazines. I used to have WWE and WoW and all that stuff. So one of the articles I'll never forget it from '99 was because Taz was actually a big name in the industry. So it was always fantasy matchups, and it was, what would he do if he went up against Austin? What would he do if he went up against Goldberg? Because those were the two top guys at the time. Mm-hmm. And he said, if Austin goes for the stunner, I'm going to put him in the Taz mission. And if Goldberg goes for the spear, I'm going to put him in the Taz mission somehow. I just remember reading that, and I was like, this guy's catching some steam. And then he comes into WWE, and they gave him a nice intro.
Right.
His win against Kurt Angle, which was awesome.
Yep.
He stops Kurt Angle's winning streak. And then, I don't know what happened. They just dropped the ball with him completely like he's a nobody. I'm like, this guy is a huge main eventer in ECW. Once again, I don't see the ECW guys as smaller guys. I mean, all those names are huge names of my childhood. RVD, Taz, Sabu,
yep,
Sandman, all those guys. Tommy Dreamer, the Dudleys, that whole crew was amazing. To me. I mean, they were doing shit that the guys at WWE weren't doing and weren't allowed to do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you know what I mean? So I don't understand why they didn't give him a proper push. Maybe I heard that he had an injury, and that's probably why. But I'm not sure if that's true.
So it's interesting enough. You really brought us into the WWE aspect of it, but he signed with WWE in 2000 because he said he actually lost his passion being the top dog in ECW for so long. And I guess he left ECW after losing that passion and he wanted to come to WWE, I guess, to re-spark that passion in he's a big fish in a little pond and now he's becoming a little fish in a big pond is essentially what happened to him. And like you said, they brought him in Royal Rumble 2000, Madison Square Garden in such a huge role. He choked out Kurt Angle his first night in wrestling. Well, in WWE, I'm sorry, in WWE, not in wrestling. But from there, it was all downhill. He lost to Triple H on a SmackDown, one of his first SmackDowns, and Vince has even gone on record in saying that was a mistake. He should have probably either A, not been in the ring with Triple H, or at least beat Triple H, because he was deflated after that. They put him in feuds with Jerry Lawler, and then he quickly became a commentator. It was so bad how they misused him in WWE. And
I realize that whenever they want to bury somebody from WCW or ECW, they use Triple H.
Okay,
Triple
so it's
H
not just me, right?
No, every time one of these guys lose like a big match, maybe besides DDP, it's Triple H.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, just like what? And I'm not blaming Triple H because they're making Triple H. They're writing this for Triple H. He's not writing this for himself. I don't believe.
Well, who knows? I mean, think about the pull he's got.
Yeah, but at the time, do you think he had that pull?
He was fucking the boss's daughter.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that he could tell creative, hey, put me in this and make me look like this. I don't think he would do that.
I mean, again, yes, you would hope not, but who the fuck knows at this point,
you could be right. I don't know these guys personally. He could be back there like, you better fucking write me in.
Yeah, right?
Write me as the winner for this. But I just realized that they always use him. Sting, Scott Steiner, Booker T, Taz, just burying everybody.
Love you. So that's Taz. Any last little things before we move on to the next guy?
They were giving Taz I thought during the Invasion storyline when Austin was heel, they were kind of giving Taz a little something because he was the one that stood up for Michael Cole.
Right.
When Austin beat the shit out of him on SmackDown. So he got in the ring and he goes, you better say you're sorry or I'm going to beat an apology out of you, that whole little thing.
Right.
And then they just have Austin just demolish him like he's nothing. I'm just like, man, this could have been your little opening to give him a nice little push back into the main event scene. And they completely dropped the ball once again.
Yeah. All right. So for me, this next guy is probably without a doubt, and I don't mean this, I mean this literally and figuratively, the biggest misuse in WWE history. He was a 3-time WCW champion, 1-time WCW US champion, and even more interesting, a 3-time IWGP champion. What does he do when he comes over to WWF at the time? He is a 1-time Slammy Award winner for Crime of the Century for attacking Gorilla Monsoon. Vader goes from being Big Van Vader, the most unstoppable force in pro wrestling, Japan, WCW, a circuit. There wasn't a circuit he didn't dominate. And he comes over to WWF and he's a joke. He's a fucking joke. It's disgusting what they did with him, and I hate it.
What a heartbreaking run they gave to Vader during the WWE days. And you know what? It's all over such a stupid reason because he had that one little mishap with Shawn Michaels. They bury him like they did.
That was a time where Shawn was also much of a piece of shit. I mean, granted, there's still rumors and stories coming out that still show that Shawn Michaels still has those tendencies to be a piece of shit. But again, I don't know, man. Like, somebody like Vader does not deserve, personally, I feel, what he got in WWE.
They tried to give him some main event status during the Undertaker Kane thing. They put him in that storyline, but he was like kind of an afterthought. Like, he was kind of thrown to the side. Then he did the "I'm a fat piece of shit" thing, and
that was actually one of the things that I have here. That that was almost like a very real shoot interview, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, because he was fed up with everything at that point. He was done because he couldn't get off the ground. Now, keep in mind, let's go back. Vader begins working full-time in WCW in 1992, and then just took out Sting, who was their big guy at that point. Again, storyline and work, he crushed Sting's ribs, and then eventually takes the title off of Sting. Granted, he only holds it for a couple weeks because of a knee injury, but then he's a mainstay at the top of the ladder until Hogan comes in. And then I think there was a lot of, harsh feelings there with Hogan coming in. He was actually supposed to be on the first episode of Nitro challenging Hogan. He left just before, so they installed Luger in that spot instead, which is very interesting. I actually found that out while doing the research for this show. Made a brief stint in NJPW before coming to WWF in 96, and they dropped they dropped the ball on him from day one. He essentially just became a jobber, losing to guys like Mark Henry, Edge, Bradshaw. Granted, those are all big names now. They weren't shit then.
No, they were nothing. And then he did have the one match with Undertaker at Canadian Stampede. I remember that off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then I remember, like I said, he was involved in that little storyline with the Undertaker and Kane and Mankind and all that. But he was kind of thrown to the side where he could have been a huge deal during that time.
I know. Absolutely. I mean, he comes back briefly in 05, 2012, and 2016. He's still not in the Hall of Fame, and the son of a bitch is dead now. They'll probably put him in within the next year or two. But, they do this all the time with guys. They wait too long. Macho Man. Nothing pisses me off more and again, I don't know what happened. There's all those weird stories about what happened with Macho Man. I don't know which of them I believe. But you wait till Macho Man is dead to put him into the Hall of Fame. You're sons of bitches, because that is, without a doubt, one of the greatest of all time, and you snubbed him so bad. And then you have the balls to have Hogan induct him. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Right. And then, meanwhile, I put him up there with Hogan. Actually, on my list, he's past Hogan.
Without a doubt.
I love Macho Man. I think he was amazing in the ring and just great all around. And now I'm like, you have Hogan induct him, but he hated Hogan.
Thank you.
The whole last 10 years of his life, he's basically saying fuck Hogan. He has a fuck Hogan rap album.
I was going to say, he wrote a rap song about how much he hates Hulk Hogan, but then Hulk Hogan's I can't. I'm not getting into this. This is another episode.
Because that's the whole bullshit of Hulk Hogan lying again and saying we're best friends. You haven't been best friends since 1988.
He called me brother, and he said just before he hit that tree, Hulkster, I want you to induct me, brother. No, he didn't fucking say that.
That's exactly what Hogan would say, too.
He said, listen here, Hogan, you're a piece of shit,
Exactly
yeah.
What he said.
Yeah.
He actually, did you ever see the promo he did on YouTube?
Yes.
Talking to Hogan?
Yes.
Challenging him like to a real fight.
I know. God.
Hates
damn.
Hogan.
All right. This isn't the Hogan Macho episode. That's definitely in a later episode.
That will come down the line.
That will definitely come down the line. Let's go to, this is the last guy that I have on my list, and then I'm sure there's a couple guys that Mark wants to throw in there. But for me, this is the last guy. And this one's a really kind of a toss-up, just because of he eventually really came into his own, but they really flatlined him for a very long time. Considered one of Florida State's greatest recruits, he spent 4 years as a defensive nose guard, 2-time All-American. His jersey number 50 has been retired. He's a WCW champion. He's a WCW US Tag Champion with Big Josh. WCW US Tag Champion with Big Josh. WCW Tag Champion with Butch Reed. And then a 3-time WWF Champion with Bradshaw. And a WWE Hall of Famer in 2012. We're talking about Ron Simmons, a.k.a. Farouk. So, now, this is an interesting one. And like I said, this is a very toss-up one for me. But after football, he joined WCW in 1986. It was then Jim Crockett Promotions. And he became a pretty solid heel, forming the tag team Doom in 89. And then in 92... he became only the second African-American to ever hold a world title and the first ever African-American WCW champion. And that was huge back then. And again, they still talk about that nowadays being, setting the pathway for future future world champions and today's world champions. A lot of them, as far as recently, have been African American, and that's something you would never have talked about back in the day,
That's true.
I mean, they gave him the title for 5 months, dropping it. Vader dropped it to him because he had that knee injury, but obviously they felt that he could hold his own, so they gave it to him.
He was a powerhouse back then too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, granted, even when he came into WWE, I mean, granted, we're going to talk about the shit that they started him with, but I mean, he was a powerhouse. That's what they used him for the most part. And interestingly enough, another one spent about a year stint in ECW, came to WWF in '96. What did they do with him when they brought him in? They put a gladiator outfit on him. They put Sonny next to him and called him Farouk Assad. Oh, man, where do I start here?
Just complete garbage for such a good talent.
Absolutely amazing talent that was just treated like absolute dog shit. At least in this regard. Granted, listen, Sonny, nothing, I'm not complaining about Sonny, but this is not what you do to a guy that was the first ever WCW African American champion. I'm sorry.
I wasn't a fan of the Nation either, though, so.
Well, okay, so that's what I was going to say. That's where he really started to come into his own, it felt, when they formed the Nation of Domination. I mean, he made guys like The Rock. I mean, think about where would The Rock be if it wasn't for Farouk and the Nation of Domination?
Honestly, I can't say, but I know that little rub there is the reason why he became The Rock. But also,
right.
I think he would have been The Rock anyway because it was really his relationship with the fans that turned him into The Rock, not his rub with Farouk.
No, but I feel like being in the Nation with Farouk, being with somebody like Ron Simmons, and again, I'm not sure that that's entirely it, but I feel like Ron was really there to help guide Rocky down that path of, dude, listen, if the fans aren't behind you, get behind the fans and just turn on them. And I feel like Farouk really helped him, or Simmons really helped get into his own. And again, you got guys like Mark Henry, D'Lo Brown, Godfather. This is where they really established themselves. I mean, Godfather had been repackaged multiple times at this point,
I liked everybody in Nation. I just didn't like the Nation
as it's okay.
Yeah, right. I didn't like the Nation clique or whatever you want to call it.
And I forgot to mention Crush was in the Nation too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Crush. I think Owen Hart was in the Nation.
Was it? Wait. Oh, yeah. Okay.
But that was so messed up to me because that was like we don't know what to do with him. We're not going to put him in the title picture. They could have had a bunch of feuds, and they was just like, nah, you know what? We'll just throw him in the Nation.
Yeah. Well, listen. Go ahead.
And I was just like, for Owen Hart, especially after the whole screw job thing, you would think, okay, well, we lost one Hart. Let's keep this one, and do something with him. Nope.
Well, the best thing that they did for Ron Simmons was put him with Bradshaw. They created the Acolytes, which, again, at first started off pretty rough for both of them. But they basically took something shitty and made it into something of their own. They created the APA. I mean, some of those backstage segments with the APA are some of my favorite segments of all time, without a doubt.
I'm a huge fan of Attitude Era 2.0, which I like to call it, which I think is the second half of Attitude Era.
Okay.
And that's where the APA really came into their own and became an awesome tag team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved it.
All right. So that's my list, guys. Again, he was inducted in 2012 into the Hall of Fame, rightfully so. I mean, this is easily one of the greatest talents in pro wrestling history, and deserves his spot in the Hall of Fame. Mark, is there any guys that I kind of missed out on that you want to touch upon now at the end of the episode?
There was a few guys they got that I thought they could have repackaged and really made into big stars, and they chose not to.
Okay.
Like Lance Storm.
Okay.
Canyon, Mike Awesome. There was a few guys that they got, and I was just like, these guys could do something, man. Like, instead of doing the boring shit with Lance Storm, why don't you give him a nice push? Let him do something.
They did nothing with him.
No.
It's worse than nothing.
No, there was a few other guys, too. I mean, and you know what? I was really disappointed what they did with RVD in the beginning, too. Because RVD during 2001 was probably one of the most over guys on the roster.
Yeah.
And the time that we had with Austin was very limited, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have him as a heel, so now you can have him working with guys that he normally wouldn't work with because now he could job to them as a heel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So now he could job and he could look a little weaker and put these guys over and make them look strong, right? Because now as a heel, his character could do those things. So I thought because there was a lot of tension between RVD and Austin during the Invasion run. So I'm like, this is setting up for a beautiful feud.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we get a triple threat match, which I didn't think we needed. I think they could have really gave RVD a nice title match with Austin, a nice actually run with Austin, and you could have had him, as a big star in his first year or second year there. Instead, they didn't really give him a big push till a couple of years later, and Austin was already out of the business, and The Rock was gone, and everything's a little different back at that time.
Yep. No, I definitely agree. There was a lot of guys that really came over, and they're still doing it, to be honest with you. And this is just literally a little taste. We wanted to dive off of the events that we've been doing. We're gonna do, as I call, the Superstar Spectacle episodes, where we talk about a specific superstar over a specific run or their entire career, if we can fit it. Or something like this, where we talk about a group of guys that fall into one category, and this one specifically, misused talent. One episode that I would love to do as far as like a group of guys is guys that never won the world title, but we feel should have. It's easily one of my favorite topics to talk about. And I'm talking obviously specifically WWF, but we can put it into any specific company, because in each company there were definitely guys like Eddie Guerrero won the world title in WWF, but never won it in WCW. Did he deserve it in WCW? Same thing with Chris Jericho, guys like Chris Benoit. Again, these are episodes that we definitely have down the pipeline that we're going to love to talk about. We do have the Road to WrestleMania coming up, so we're going to be throwing out some WrestleMania pay-per-views that we're going to be talking about. We got a whole bunch of stuff lined up, guys. Like, we have been doing nothing but talking about what episodes we want to talk about and do, and it has been amazing to get back into this and really get the gears going on this show. So if you guys have any ideas for shows for us, Superstar Spectacle, events that you want to see, let us know. We have a Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have an OnlyFans, we have a Brazzers page, everything.
The OnlyFans is mine.
It is, yeah. It's called Mark Makes a Mark on Society. Guys, listen, thank you for listening. I'm Mike.
I'm Mark.
And this is Good Friends, Better Enemies podcast, guys. Until next time, Mark.
See you.
Thank you. So,
all right, let's go.
Let's just go jump right into it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, hold on.
Let you lead the way, Captain.
Captain. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Got a big old dick.
That's right. Bitch.
Boy, got a big ass dick. He will be all up in his girlfriend like, oh yeah, you like that?
Oh, yeah.
You like that? Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
She goes, you guys are so gay.
Oh God, Michael. Feel you.
No, I don't want to stream. Start recording. Transition.